Hey, it's Renee Roberts, and I took Risa up on her challenge to do a video for our 21-day results group. So I've never done a video before, so you'll have to forgive me if it gets a little crazy, and I'll try not to talk too fast or take too long. But what I thought I would do is show you one of my favorite go-to breakfast, lunch, or snacks. It takes a little bit of prep, but it's well worth it. Healthy, follows the 21-day fixed meal plan. This is overnight oats. I'm sure anybody, if you've been on Pinterest or even the Beachbody website or have other friends, it's a pretty popular dish right now. What I like to use, this is a quart-sized mason jar. I didn't have any, and I didn't want to buy a whole case of them, so I basically went on Facebook and said, hey, do any of my Facebook friends have any jars they want to get rid of? And I got really lucky, and somebody gave me 5 jars with these really nice plastic tops. So this is what I like to use because you can eat right out of this after you make the oats. So what I use, and I'll go through that real quick and then I'll show you how to do it. Just old-fashioned rolled oats. This is the grocery store brand, Quaker Oats. Whatever's on sale is typically what I buy or have a coupon for. I'm also going to use Greek yogurt. Once again, kind of buy whatever's on sale. I usually buy the big container. I just so happen to have just this individual container of the Chobani. This is non-fat, but you could get 1 or 2%, whichever you like, but don't get the flavored stuff because it's got too many sugars and sweets in it. The other thing I use is the unsweetened vanilla almond milk. Autumn says that this is pretty much a freebie, so that's a good thing. Chia seeds, good for your digestion and a lot of other things, so we're going to use those. Then I've got a couple of different toppings that I'll talk about. We've got unsalted sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds, and then there's organic coconut flakes that are also unsweetened. And then a couple of ways that we do sweeten it. You can use the 100% pure maple syrup. This is the store brand, and I'm sure Trader Joe's and some other folks have much better quality ones, but I wasn't sure if I'd like this, so I just bought the inexpensive one from the grocery store. And then my friend Kelly raises bees, and she gives me fresh local honey, and this just happens to be the very end of the last container she gave to me, so that's why it's in this container, not the big jar. But so we're going to use maybe some honey. But so what I would do to start this is take the jar, the rolled oats, and I've got a measuring cup here. This is a ½ a cup measuring cup. So I take a ½ a cup of the oats and just going to stick those straight into the jar. And you kind of want to layer this up the way that I'm going to do it so you can make sure the oats are good and moist for you the next day. Also, it looks kind of pretty when you finish the jar. Then the next thing I do is and I've just already shook this, but you want to shake your almond milk. I'm going to take a ½ a cup of almond milk and fill that right up. And then we're going to pour that into the jar on top of the oats. Now you could use coconut milk, some other things, but this is obviously, since it's a freebie, it's kind of my fave, and it actually tastes really good with the oats. And then what I like to do is take, these are the chia seeds. I just opened the bag. These are, I think, Nature's Promise brand. And this is an old peanut butter jar. It's just easier for me to use this, and they store well. So I take a teaspoon of these. You won't really even taste them. It's just adding some good nutritional value for you. And I sprinkle these on top next. And you can kind of layer these things a little differently. I like to do the sweetener next, whatever I'm going to put in here, because it puts it closest to the oats and the milk so that when you later stir it up, I think it tastes the best. So what I like to do is, I think today I'm actually going to use the maple syrup. But either one, that or the honey. And you can, I kind of eyeball this. If you want to, you could use a measuring cup, but I'm trying, like a lot of times when I'm doing this, not to dirty up a lot of dishes. So I just, if you can see, I'm just going to kind of drizzle a little bit in here right on top of the oats. I'm not going to really worry about, spreading it around or stirring it up. So that's in there. And then the next thing I'll do is going to put in the yogurt. So if you wanted to be really particular, you could measure. You definitely don't need a full red container of yogurt. I usually just put a couple of dollops, so if I was going to be counting my containers, I'd probably say maybe a ½ a red, maybe even a third of a red, depending on how much yogurt you want. So I kind of just take a couple of dollops of the yogurt and put right on top of the oatmeal and the chia seeds. And so that kind of comes out to be about a ½ of one of these little containers if you're going to use these. Sometimes they're good because then you don't have to worry about opening the big one and it going bad quicker. So that's in there. And so then the next thing I like to do is I want to put some fruit in here so you can get your purple container in. Once again, I don't think you're going to have a full purple container unless you're going to really fill this jar up, and I don't think you really want to do that. One of my favorite things to do is I like raspberries with these because then the raspberries kind of break down, or you could cut up strawberries. But when I buy raspberries, I typically get them at Sam's Club, and I'll take a day or two and I might eat some out of them, and then I just shove them up in the freezer and right into the container because I know I'm going to eat them fairly soon. And what's really nice is they kind of, as you can see, these are moving around, they freeze and they're individual. So I just kind of take a handful and eyeball how many that I want in there, and you can kind of see now what we're starting to get. It's getting kind of layered up, and you can see the raspberries down in there. I think I'm going to put just a couple more. And also take into account, I'm going to eat this for breakfast, and I'm going to eat it for lunch, because that'll also make a determination. Or maybe it's a snack, but as to how much of the yogurt or how much of the fruit that I want to put in. So now that you got the fruit in there, the other thing that I like to do, because I like a little crunch, I'm kind of really sensitive when it comes to texture in my mouth. Actually, don't even really like oatmeal. Never liked it hot, don't like grits, don't like cottage cheese, don't like a lot of stuff like that. So I like to give this something that's going to make it crunchy. And that's why I have either the pumpkin seeds or I have the sunflower seeds. You could use almond slivers. I've used walnuts, and I have used some pecans. But once again, if you want to go back to the 21-day meal plan, you kind of want to stick with what they suggest. So once again, if you wanted to be counting containers, you've got your nut container here, which is the little orange one. So just to show you, so we'll fill that up because I do like it crunchy. And then that's pretty full. And I just sprinkle these on the top. And sometimes I like the coconut, but the bad thing is if this sits, sometimes it gets a little too moist and the coconut won't be crunchy the next day. So a lot of times I'll actually take my seed container and just fill it with the coconut and then take it with me to work. Or if I'm eating it at home, then I'll just take a handful and put on there. But that kind of helps, another thing, with crunch and giving it a little more flavor. But basically, we're done. So it's really not hard. So what you've got here is you've got your oats with the almond milk. Then you got your chia seeds. You can kind of see them, they a little black here. They'll kind of swell up and get a little gelatinous in there, but you won't even notice it. Then I put in this case today, the maple syrup, or you could use honey. I know some people like agave, probably not as good as the other two. You could use some, I think, date paste, just something to kind of sweeten it up. Then I go with the fruit. And like I said, the more mushy a fruit is, the better it does. Some things just don't work. I've tried orange and a couple other things, but I think strawberries, raspberries, I've done blueberries, I've done blackberries. Anything that will let you mush it does better. I don't really like the texture when you do bananas, but you could do that. And then, like I said, you top it with your favorite nut. And basically then you just screw the top on. And if I was going to take this to work, I would, I'd have the top screwed on, if I can get it on here. And I would put my coconut in the container. The one last thing I did want to say was I like to use a teaspoon, like a nice teaspoon, to eat this because that way it reaches all the way down into the jar. So you can mix it up, eat it, great for lunch, great for a snack. If you're going to take it to work, I suggest you put it back in the fridge or the yogurt will get kind of warm until you're ready to eat it. But lots of other things you can mix in here. You can put a little vanilla, a little cinnamon, you can put a little peanut butter. You can change this up with lots of different toppings, but always keep in mind you want to go with something that's healthy and, if at all possible, part of the 21-day fixed eating plan. So thanks, guys, and I appreciate you watching the video.